Welcome back. And we are now at part 4 of this week's new comics, bitches. But first, before we actually get to the books themselves, I want to talk to you a little bit about a comic book that we talked about before, which was Thief of Thieves #1. The best part of Thief of Thieves #1 was actually nothing to do with the actual writing of the comic book itself. And it was something that my friend Comic Noob touched upon in his review of the same issue. And it's an open letter from Robert Kirkman to anyone who picks up the book. And I believe, honestly, that if it's just slightly tweaked, edited, that it should be in every issue of everything that Image puts out. Because basically what it's saying is that you don't have, and I'm going to quote some of it here. I don't want to get too bogged down in this because we do have other stuff to cover. But, it takes things like Sin City and Hellboy and Cerebus and, the crime books of Brubaker and Phillips, Love and Rockets, Casanova, Morning Glories, Hack Slash, Elephant Man, Chew, Preacher, Why the Last Man, and of course, Walking Dead. And it's basically saying, the thing that I loved that he said here is that, people think of comic books, they generally think of spandex. I was talking to my wife about this, and I wanted her to read this, and she did, she agreed with it. And it's one of those things where you're just really hoping, and basically what he's saying is that we live in an age that is unparalleled for fans of comics. Because you have a lot of non-comics people out there who are kind of becoming converts. They're kind of looking at things that are on TV, like The Walking Dead. They're looking at all the stuff that's in the films nowadays. A lot of comic books coming to the big screen. And they're saying, you know what, this is really interesting stuff here. And I would like to read more of it. And that's a great thing. But what he said that I really took home more than anything is that he's hoping for a day, and soon may it come, where it will actually be weirder for someone to admit that they're not reading comics than it is weirder for people to admit that they are. I'm starting to notice it a little bit around me. At work, I heard somebody the other day talking about the Justice League and talking about Zatanna. And I just thought that was really cool, and I kind of piped in. It's like, oh, you read comics, I read comics. So it's always interesting. You never know who's actually out there reading comics. So make your voice heard. Go to your local comic shop. Make sure that you're buying the shit. Talk about them to your friends. Talk about them to your family. Make sure that everybody knows that comic books are great things. So thank you, Robert Kirkman, for putting that out there. So anyway, let's move on to the actual reviews. Last of the Greats, so this is Books of the Week now. We're in our Books of the Week mode. It's 4.5 out of 5. I didn't say that about Secret Avengers 22. That was 4.5 out of 5. Last of the Greats, #5. Okay. This may turn into a longer thing. I'm not going to talk so much about the book, which is fantastic. It's mind-fucky, it's superb, there's a lot of weird shit going on here, and it's awesome. Brand People's art, Fialkov's writing, 5 out of 5. That, hands down, 5 out of 5. However, what is, again, really important with this book is there is a letter at the end of it. And it is about the next, basically, because this is the last of the Greats. What will be coming up is what they will call the Return of the Greats. But that all depends on go out to your local comic book store and get this comic. Get back issues. Or wait until the trade comes out. That might be even better at this point in time. Because now since the back issues are out, and if you find them somewhere and you buy them, that'll be nice, but it won't give them it won't give Image the projected idea of the interest of this thing. It's available for pre-order on Amazon right now. Go to your LCS, local comic shop, and ask, are you pre-ordering the trades? I'm buying a copy of the trade. And if you're really nice to some of you out there, I might buy one for you too. Because this is important. This is a series that I really want to continue. But, as I think I've talked about before, it's going to depend upon the sales of the trade if Image will continue with the series or not. Because, as he said, as Fialkov says in the letter that he posts, it's, you know, that this book sells less copies than his book I, Vampire, which is one of the lower selling DC titles of the New 52. And that also is sad. So please start buying I, Vampire, because that's another fucking great comic. But this would be heartbreaking to lose, because it's creator owned, it's great stuff, week after week after week. It's just been tremendous, you know, issue after issue, I should say, month after month. Amazing book. And get out there and buy it. Pre-order the fucking, you know, pre-order the trade. Just do it. Just, I'll stop. I'll pause for a minute and go to Amazon, pre-order it, or go to your LCS, get it. tfaw.com might already have available pre-order. Just get it, because it's worth it. And then that will allow the return of the greats, which is going to tell a much more massive scale story. And it will continue, I'm sure it will continue to be just as awesome. So that's it for that. Okay, so here's to a comic. Now we're going to talk about a comic that is obviously going to continue because of the key players. It's Batman and Robin #6. This is a fucking fantastic issue. This is my, I mean, I did, I don't know if it was the last issue or the issue prior that was Book of the Week. It might have been the issue prior, I think. But this is damned close to being Book of the Week. This is an easy 5 out of 5. Again, leaning, it's like a 5+ out of 5. It's everything I've wanted from this book. It is it's the father-son relationship. It is the showdown. You know, it is the temptation of Damien. I mean, this is just a magically put together. I can't even really open my mouth without spoiling anything. But you see the kind of the fraternal bonds between the young Ducard and the young Bruce Wayne being shattered after you know, Henri Ducard takes out the guy, you know, basically, you know, kills them, which is something that we saw, you know, okay, if you've been a fan of comics for a long time, you might have seen this there was a while back in Detective Comics, I mean a while back in like 1988, or 1989, there was a big kind of like 500th anniversary, and Henri Ducard was featured. You know, that's kind of where he originated his character, because it was they were kind of going back in time. We were learning about the different, you know, the different people that Bruce Wayne learned from, and Ducard's expertise was that he was a manhunter. So this book touches on all those things that I think are great. It has really excellent suspense. It's really tightly written. It's great dialogue. There's some nice action beats in it, but ultimately it's the emotional side that gets me. And there's a moment that Damien has that is so clear-cut and so beautiful and so memorable. It's something that you really, you know, and also for Bruce. It's just, this is top-notch stuff here. This is definitely, as far as the Bat books, this is definitely the second best that's out there. Because Snyder's Batman is the best. But this, but like I said, I mean, this is a book I didn't really know was going to be as awesome as it is, and I'm like I said, I'm so glad I started getting this book because it's just fantastic. It's just awesome, and I hope that they don't shake up their creative team anytime soon, because I mean, just with this team of Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, I mean, they've got some great art, great writing. And like I said, just really has got their finger on the pulse of exactly what readers of this comic want to see, which is that relationship between Bruce and Damian, and how sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but ultimately this father-son thing has to come together because they can make a team that's unparalleled. So on to the book of the week. Again, this is not going to be a big shock to anybody. And ultimately, it had to be this. Even before reading it, I knew it had to be this. And that, of course, is Severed, number 7. Scott Snyder, Scott Tuft, and Attila Futaki have created what I think will become possibly the new gold standard in horror comics. This has been the most pulse-pounding, edge-of-your-seat, like sweat dripping from your brow, I'm shaking as I'm reading it, horror comic that I've ever read, possibly. Some things have come close, some things maybe have had it a little bit better, but this is just, as far as what's going on right now in horror comic, this is unparalleled. Nobody's doing it this good. Nobody did it this good. And this, of course, is the final issue of this series, or is it? Because ultimately what this book is about, it's about dreams and it's about nightmares. And the two of them feeding off of each other. It's like a snake eating its own tail. It's just one of those things. It's circular. It will it's infinite. It will never stop. Because it can't stop. As long as there are dreams out there, there's going to be a nightmare that's going to want to consume it. And that's what this book is about. I mean, in a literal and in a figurative sense. Because we have ultimately the final confrontation between, well, maybe we do and maybe we don't, between the salesman and Jack Brakeman. And what happens is just, I mean, it really was just like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I can't turn the page. I can't read this dialogue fast enough and take in all of this beautiful art. And I can't do it fast enough. I have to know. And once it actually got to the end, it was like, oh my God, what the fuck? I mean, it was just, this is 5++++++ stars. It's a perfect comic. The whole run of Severed has been amazing. And I mean, Christ, I don't know if the trade for this is available for pre-order yet, but I know that I'm going to be getting it because I definitely want these books bound. Because this has been, like I said, it's been the best horror series I think I've probably ever read. Because it works on every level. When you get a book that works as perfectly as this does, you can't ignore it. So, that's Book of the Week. So, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like it. I talk other shit too. Movies, TV, games. Follow me on Twitter. It's Donnelly92274. Tumblr, the Shadow Gallery Comics.tumblr.com. James Donnelly on Facebook. I'm here. This is James Donnelly for the Shadow Gallery saying good night and good luck. And we'll see you next time.